Welcome to the next lesson in this chapter, Scaffolding the Ticketing module. This is going to be another very quick lesson, so let's jump straight into the code. In this lesson, I want to show you what it looks like to set up a new module completely from scratch, given that we've implemented all of these cross-cutting concerns in the previous chapters. So let's add the ticketing module, and then I'm going to add the 4 projects that we need to apply the clean architecture. So I'm going to quickly add the 4 projects, and then we're going to discuss the other details. So with the 4 projects that we need in place, the domain, application, infrastructure, and presentation layers, let's see what we need to do to set up our new module. I'm going to start from the domain project, where I only need to add a reference to the common domain project. Now let's move on to the application project. It needs to have a reference to the common application project and the domain project of our ticketing module. The next thing I need is an assembly reference class. So I'm going to copy the one from the events module and add it here. And the only thing I need to do is to update the namespace. So this should be in the ticketing application namespace. We're going to do the same in the presentation project. It needs to have a reference to the common presentation project as well as the ticketing application project so that it can access the commands and queries. So I'm going to add those references, then I'm going to paste an assembly reference inside, and I'm going to update the namespace to be ticketing presentation instead of ticketing application. And the last thing that I need is a new class in the infrastructure project that I will call the ticketing module. This is going to be our static class that's going to register our entire module. And this project needs to have a reference to both the ticketing application project as well as the ticketing presentation project. And we are going to need a reference to Evently common infrastructure. In order to save some time, I'm going to reuse the parts of the code from the users module. So let me copy all of this. And then we're going to leave only the useful parts. So let's add the missing imports. And then let's get rid of all of this inside of add infrastructure because we don't have any components. And we can just call this from the add ticketing module method. And inside of it, we are calling add infrastructure and add endpoints. Let's leave a comment that's going to say, we'll implement this later. And now we are ready to connect our ticketing module to our API. So let's do the same as we did with the users module. We'll add a project reference. So let's target ticketing infrastructure where the ticketing module is located. And I'm going to say after add users module, let's call the same method for add ticketing module. We're also going to register the required configuration files for the ticketing module. And we also have to add the use cases for this module. So this is going to be ticketing application. And the one thing that we are missing is the configuration files for our ticketing module. So let's rename this to modules.ticketing. And I will update the section inside to say ticketing, as well as in the modules ticketing development JSON project. And with this, we can wrap up the scaffolding part of our ticketing module. And in the coming lessons, we will be adding a lot of use cases to this module because this is also the core module of our system. The ticketing module is one of the 4 modules that we're going to implement as part of this application. And we already have the events module in place, as well as parts of the users module. In the next lesson, I will start by implementing the cart feature for the ticketing module, where we are going to be adding some tickets to the cart for a specific customer. While we are implementing this, I'm going to demonstrate how we can do synchronous and asynchronous communication between our modules and show you what are the trade-offs of each of the choices. And we are going to start with synchronous communication between our modules in the very next lesson.